Hello again, everyone. Here I am back in front of this weird green light to talk with you this time about Lear. So what I'm hoping to do is put together just a quick series of lectures. Who am I joking? Who am I kidding? I'm going to try keeping it to two, but it might become four. I'm going to try, right? But what I want to do is talk about what I think are some of the important gaps in Lear, and then the final lecture will include the quiz, right? I will say it's the quiz lecture, so you'll know what exactly to look for, and I'll give you a week from today to post your responses, right? So your quiz is due. Your quiz on Lear is due on the 20th of November, right? So that gives you a week to go over the play, to review your ideas and thoughts, our discussions, and so on, and then put together a sort of quiz. As usual, you are encouraged to post videos of your quiz. Only Kiara has done that. Brave and good Kiara, thank you. Others have also responded, many others have responded in quiz form by writing, right? So you can either post a video lecture in response to the quiz, 15 minutes or so, or you can write 350 to 500 words. Actually, let's keep it at 350 to 400 words, right, in response to the quiz prompt. So that is the basic protocol, I suppose, for Lear and for the Lear lectures. And I'm going to start right now. I'll start with, one of the things that is always brought up. Oh my God. Can you see those? I'm sorry, I'm distracted. I'm trying to cover up my tacky trophies from the chili contest, but I'll show you what they look like. There they are, two of them, back to back. Dr. Boyle won a trophy for the hottest chili this year. So our team, the Academic Chili Society, did very well, I would like to say. All right, enough boasting. Returning to Lear. God, what a mighty fall, huh? So many people, specifically people who teach Shakespeare and the plays of Shakespeare, say this. Don't teach Lear, period. At the undergraduate level, some say, why teach Lear at the very end of the semester when students are probably beaten down with all these other things? They won't appreciate the play. Some say, gosh, it's the longest play. Do you really want to end with the longest play when the students are exhausted? Some say it's a really difficult play insofar as the text itself is concerned, and Cassie had drawn attention to the textual struggles, right? That one side of the page looks different than the other. Which one do we read? Is it the history? Is it the folio? Is it the tragedy? Is it the folio? Is it the quarto? Why put the students through that at the end of the semester? That's something people ask. But also, why put students through the struggle of engaging with a really complicated text, a really complicated story, right? That's something which a lot of people wonder about. Why not end on a happy note, right? Why go with Lear when you could go with, say, a play like Twelfth Night, or a play like As You Like It, or even Midsummer Night's Dream, really, really sweet plays. And then there is the good old-fashioned, why not go chronologically and end with a play like The Tempest, for example, to showcase the retirement. Yes, all of these are sound and proper questions to ask. But I'm not convinced that the answers to these, the common sense answers to these, are valid reasons to either not teach Lear at all or to kind of couch Lear, sandwich the play between some other ones that will absorb the disgruntlement, the dissatisfaction, the discontentment that the play really pushes in our face. I won't apologize for the fact that the play is dissatisfying. I also think it's important to present Lear after we have gone through variations of satisfying and dissatisfying plays. We've read Merchant of Venice, which is terribly dissatisfying, but in a very different sense. We've read Twelfth Night, which is terribly dissatisfying, I think, at the same time that it is kind of arbitrarily satisfying. We've read plays like Midsummer Night's Dream, which are cute. Satisfaction and pleasure are torn apart in a play like that, right? And if Puck could have his way, he would say pleasure all the way, right? And I think the play's insistence on pleasure being almost an amoral component of the human condition is, or the fairy condition as well, is an important one to note. So seeing these various plays or reading them and discussing them before coming to Lear, I think is very important. I would even say reading and talking about The Tempest before coming to Lear is of great importance because I think with Lear, I think with The Tempest, the notion that the world can be righted with a lot of pain, with a lot of expense, with a lot of planning and corruption, perhaps. But that the world can be righted remains a consistent reality, right? In the world of the play, for the characters who inhabit the world of the play, things can become right. The new world can be this fascinating place, and innocence, as it exists in Miranda, I don't know if it's innocence, but let us call it innocence, as it exists in Miranda and her sort of naive appreciation of a world that is new to her, is a cherishable concept, right? Like this is what we want to protect. Someone's wonder at the human world. So that level of, I don't want to call it optimism, but I will say it is a level of hopefulness that a play like The Tempest can sustain despite all the horrors it showcases, renders it more satisfying, especially because the language in it is just gorgeous, right? I mean, we talked about the beauty of the lines, the pauses, the temper tantrums, the anxiety-ridden lines. All of them are just stunningly and equally beautiful. So because of all these things, I feel The Tempest is an easier play for us to digest as compared to Lear. Lear has some sublime lines, just stunningly, stunningly present, right? They're not all beautiful. I would say the vast majority of them are not beautiful, right? They're jagged and just crusted with whatever emotion they're expressing, and those emotions are themselves so complicated that the play, in general and on the whole, is difficult. But I feel that for it to come at the very end is of critical importance, because as we've been progressing through the various gaps in the various plays, this one offers us some of the most stark gaps that we, to use some language and context from the play, we would be blind not to see. And yet, of course, that is part of what the play is about, that the most glaring gaps very often are either overlooked or dismissed or very flimsily covered up. And in that lies the horror and the tragedy that we must endure eventually, right? Like a result of that. So I would like to talk about some of these gaps and then bring up the quiz question, the prompt. I have 3 minutes. I'll tell you why this is one of the more moving plays for me, and it's a personal anecdote-y thing. It's not anecdote-y, but it's personal. I was around, I don't know, 14 or so when a very close family friend of ours, I lived on a university campus because my father was a university professor and a physicist, and we lived in a sort of idyllic elite environment. And my mother is a doctor, and she, well, those are my parents. And I lived on a university campus till I was about 18 or 19, or actually earlier than that. But anyway, when I was around 14, one of our very close family friends lost their son in a car wreck. He was in another part of the country. He was very happily married, and his wife was pregnant with their kid when he met with an accident. He was being driven around, so he was being chauffeured, and something happened, and he died immediately, leaving his wife widowed with their unborn child. His parents and his only sister was stunned, his younger sister. It shook his parents to the bone. And I remember running into them when I was going somewhere with one of my very good friends, just like around the corner, a very safe, the university campus is like, that's one of the reasons it was idyllic. It was very safe, and it was very protected, and you could just, walk around at 2 a.m. and nothing would happen to you. We ran into the parents as they were just coming back from their walk or something, and the mother caught hold of us, my best friend and I, and told us to be very careful, right? Careful crossing the street, just be careful. And it was almost this frantic, raging sense of urgency with which she spoke about how we need to be careful crossing the street. And it occurred to me that, there was some level of madness that I discerned in her and her husband that might have resulted from losing their child. I have to stop now. I'll continue the story for the first couple of minutes and then go on to the next video.